The Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First item of business tonight, is our weekly commission reports, and I will start with Commissioner Moore.
Hi. Well, this is kind of a busy day for me. I just returned on the run from a Mason Transit Authority Board meeting in Allen, so I'm still catching my breath. I attended a League of Women Voters meeting today. We have on Thursday a Public Works Committee meeting. Wednesday, I'm going out of order, I have a Peninsular Railway and Lumbermen's Museum meeting. I'm also going to be attending this week in Olympia a meeting on urban growth and the environment, and it's a meeting that is a planning meeting. It will also be featuring the Squaxin Island tribe, talking about issues with our natural environment. The city of Olympia is expecting growth within the next couple of years of an additional 120,000 people. They're building for it. As those places are filled up, then some of that growth is definitely going to come our way. So I think it's important to be as educated as we can on that. And I believe that is all that I have this week.
Thank you very much. Commissioner McDowell.
I attended the forum last night, which was enlightening and very interesting. So that I was a little disappointed at the turnout for it, but it was good. Today I had my CareNet board meeting. Tomorrow I'm going to be at the high school at the reality fair, and that is where kids learn the reality of what it's going to be like when they're out on their own. So it's very, very interesting. I mean, I can't buy that BMW right out of high school. No, you can't. And Thursday, Chamber of Commerce monthly luncheon at the PUD. That's my week.
Thank you very much. Tomorrow I have 3 scheduled meetings. I will be doing the Criminal Justice Board meeting in the morning. Then I will be having what I'll be going is going with our city manager. Him and I are going to be over and talking to a county commissioner named Kevin Schutte. And then following that, we will have a short briefing, weekly briefing. That's Wednesday. Thursday, I also plan to attend the chamber monthly lunch. On Friday is a Realtors Expo housing event, and I usually go to that every year.
Oh,
so
I will be there as well.
Okay.
I will be there also.
Okay, so it looks like we all will be at that event. And so that concludes our weekly commission reports, but at this time I would like to enter a letter that I wrote into the record. So whatever that means, I'll read it. This is an open letter to the citizens of Shelton. Over the next few weeks, you will be asked to vote on Proposition 1. This proposition would replace our existing 3-person commission with a 7-person council. This is not a good idea, and I would highly recommend that you vote no on Proposition 1. I am concerned that a 7-person council will cost the city more money, be less effective, and undermine the success the city is currently experiencing. 2 years ago, Shelton was on the edge of bankruptcy, but today we have reduced our $50 million debt to $44 million. And we went from building 2 homes per year to 20 homes per year. We used to borrow millions of dollars to build infrastructure, which you are now paying through your high sewer rates. But now we are building our sewer basins with almost 100% grant funding money. If this 7-person council passes, my position as your elected mayor will be eliminated, and I will be gone. Your right to choose a new mayor will be taken from you because this new 7-person council will pick one for you. I thank you very much. That's my letter that I would like to give to whoever wants it. So that completes our weekly commission reports. Is there general public comment period?
Yes.
Anybody signed up for that?
We do. We have Jeannie Rainwalt.
Hi there, I'm Jeannie Raywalt, and I live at 1017 North 8th Street up on North Cliff. And as the Executive Director of Mason Matters for the last year and a half, I have worked to build community partnerships and collaborations around the 7 priorities that were established by the Community Health Improvement Plan. And my comment is regarding the vision and the mission and the goals for the City of Shelton. I don't see anywhere except for housing that there's any reflection of collaboration with the community or health, protecting and promoting health of the citizens. So that's my little brief comment.
We greatly appreciate that comment,
Yes.
and we have made a note of that. So, is there anybody else?
No.
All right. Next is our consent agenda. Are we ready for reading the consent agenda?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Consent agenda vouchers numbered 660 through 798 and 15651 through 15672 in the amount of $633,038.61. Vouchers numbered 15679 through 15758 in the amount of $261,708.38. Voucher numbered 15673 in the amount of $4,280.65. And we have minutes from the business meeting of October 2nd and the study session of October 9th, 2017.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I will move to accept the consent agenda.
Second that motion.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda passes. All right. Next, we have some action item on our agenda items, and the first is what the young lady talked about is our mission, vision, and values and goals update, and that will be presented to us by our city manager, Ryan Wheaton.
Mayor, can I ask for a brief change? We're hoping to get Officer Lawson here so that Chief Moody could discuss an incident that happened over the
Is
last
no
week.
problem. What we'll do is we'll go on with the action agenda, item number 2.
Can we're comfortable doing that, but Officer Lawson's on duty tonight, and he was able to come right now instead of at the end of the meeting. Would it be okay if?
Yeah,
Chief
whenever he
Moody-
comes in.
He's here right now.
He's here, so what do you want to do?
We're asking Chief Moody just to give you guys an update on an incident that happened last week.
Oh, okay, sure, oh, absolutely. Okay, so
Thank
what
you.
we're going to do is at this point, insert a message from our police chief, DARRIN Moody.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm sorry to interrupt in the middle of the meeting or in the end, but he is on duty, so if duty calls, he's got to run.
There you go.
So I got a commendation this week that I felt important to read and let you know the kind of people that we have here in the city of Shelton. Sergeant Heldreth gave me a commendation for Officer Lawson. You may have seen it in the news. On October 12th at about 12:30 a.m., a 911 call came in stating that a 69-year-old man was not breathing and possibly in cardiac arrest. MACECOM dispatched fire and ambulance units to Wyandotte Avenue, and they also advised city patrols that medical was on the way. Officer Jason Lawson responded to the call because he was closer than any medical units. He was the first unit on scene and went into action. He got out of his patrol car and couldn't get through the front door because it was locked. He was preparing to make entry when she opened the door. Once he got inside and found the subject there, he was face up and appeared lifeless. Officer Lawson noticed he was not breathing and had no pulse. His training and proficiency as a first responder kicked in, and he began CPR. He continued CPR for about 5 minutes until medical units arrived. And if you've ever done CPR, 5 minutes of CPR is a long time.
Long time.
And according to the medics on scene, once they began to transport him, their statement was that he saved the man's life.
Wow.
So I'd like to acknowledge Officer Lawson and present him with a letter of commendation in front of the commission.
And I would give a round of applause to that.
Thank you. Good job. Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
very much.
Yeah, you can interrupt these meetings anytime you want for something like that. All right. All right, so let's go back to our It's an Action agenda item number 1, and it's talking about the mission, vision, and values and goal updates, and so our city manager is going to talk about that.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners, and thanks for that amendment to the agenda tonight. We brought forward this information last week to give you guys an opportunity to take a look. We spent a couple months first meeting with you individually to figure out what areas you wanted us to focus in on. And then, as I mentioned last week, we had a very active group at the city from all levels of our organization that participated not just in the work sessions, but also offline when department directors came back to their individual groups. They met and went over these components. What we're asking for today is not for you to vote on the strategic plan, but to concur that we move forward to complete the strategic plan based on the mission, vision, values, and goals, and bring that information back for your review and your vote by the end of this year.
So it's a work still in
Correct.
progress here, because I do appreciate the comments that have been brought forward regarding health and community health. So I would like to see that integrated into this somewhere. I do agree that's important and part of the financial stability, housing, infrastructure, and job growth.
Well, I would also say that when we get these and we read them, they all look complete when I read them. I mean, it seems like it's got everything possibly covered. And so if there's creative suggestions or other suggestions or things, I mean, I would pass it, for example, but I feel that when someone from the public comes forward and does a legitimate or a good comment about it, something we need to think about. And so I can look back at this and more, but it's not my expertise to wordsmith these kinds of things because they're all kind of vague and floating. But I appreciate all the work that you've done on this. And again, I think that the lady did present something that we might want to take a look at, and I probably would be open for other comments on that too. So
we've taken public comment, and to explain a little bit more about what the next step would look like, the department directors have each taken a component of this, and we haven't done the next step because we're waiting to get your thumbs up. But what they'll do from here is they'll put together objectives and targets for the next year to 2 years that then will contribute to these two goals. And so the health and the different components will actually likely end up there, where we're targeting specific improvements. So mission, vision, values, and goals, I think just by nature of what they are, a little more vague. The next step, you'll see some more fine-tuned details as we look at actual goals that the departments will work on.
So we could include a component regarding community health in in those.
Yeah, I think that when we had discussions, that component came up when we look at the mission, the part about a vibrant community for life, work, growth, and recreation, that life component would certainly fit that pretty well.
Okay.
any other further comments or questions about this? So it appears that we concur with the Strategic Plan Committee's recommendation for updating the city's mission, vision, values, and goals, and finalize a new strategic plan to be presented for the Commission's approval before the end of 2017. Thank you. Next is item number 2, and that's talking about our HCC phone system purchase. And Tim is going to come and talk to us about that.
Mayor and Commissioners, as we discussed last week, the city would be look forward to moving forward with the purchase agreement for the new city phone system from Hood Canal Communications. And if you have any additional questions, I would gladly take them now.
I don't have any questions.
Okay.
I think it's just a cost of
clear.
doing business. And so I would entertain a motion.
Thank you.
Oh, I guess you can sit down. I'm entertaining a motion, and so.
First, I do want to say I'm glad we're coming into the next century. How old were those phones that we had? 30 years old?
Not quite 30 years old, but
Old enough.
definitely showing their age.
Yes, very good. Well, I'll make the motion. I move to approve the Hood Canal Communications purchase agreement with Exhibit A and authorize the mayor to sign.
A second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 3 is the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee grant recommendations, and our Assistant City Manager, Vicki Look, is going to describe this to us.
Good evening, Commissioners. I presented the tourism recommendations from the LTAC Committee, that's the Lodging Advisory Tax Committee, last week, and the recommendations that they made were for Shelton Mason County Chamber of Commerce, their Visitor Center, $16,750. Christmastown Kiwanis, Bluegrass from the Forest for $7,000. Mason County Forest Festival, $8,000. Mason County Historical Society Car Show, $1,800. Mason County Historical Society Museum Visitor Center, $10,000. And the Shelton Mason County Chamber of Commerce Downtown Visioning Committee had recommended that we do signage in the amount of $13,325. We had a new request for this year. It was the City of Shelton for promotion of sports tourism for $10,000, and the total that they recommended was $66,875. They did recommend that amount, and if you have any questions about that, I'd be happy to answer for you.
I don't have any questions.
Nor do I.
I'm on that committee, and I will just tell you, the people who are on that committee watch over every penny as if it's the only penny there is. So I'm kind of a tiebreaker on that committee, but Dwayne Wilson and Annette McGee do a fantastic job in this community, and they are very good people watching over that money. And so I concur that this is a good number to give back into our nonprofits for the community. So at this point, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion. I move to accept the Lodging Tax Committee's recommendation and direct staff to add the grant funding to the tourism budget for 2018.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to turn the meeting over to our city manager at this time for any information or report he may have.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. We have a few things tonight. One, Mayor CRONCE, you asked about our participation in AWC's retro program. Just wanted to follow up with you. We do participate. We have for a few years. And then just a quick budget note on that. It costs us $4,500 a year, but we are active members in the retro program through
Retro?
AWC.
What is
So this is the question
O&I?
the mayor asked, I think, last week regarding whether or not we participate in a program that allows us some benefits if we don't have accidents and claims.
Oh, okay.
And just wanted to let you know that we are active members of AWC's retro program. Second, the EDC let us know earlier this week that Commissioner Schutte requested some developers conferences to be held both for the north part of the county and for Shelton in the south part of Mason County. And we will provide some more updates when we get them, but they're looking to put together a conference so that the three of you and staff can get together with builders and developers to explain some of the benefits to building in Shelton and also some of the advances that we've made in different opportunities for them. And we're looking to do that at the end of next month. Third, we provided you a draft of the letter you requested a couple weeks ago in last week's packet. Just wanted to give you a heads up that next week we'll bring forward the letter that you asked us to put together that would be sent to the county regarding their potential fireworks ban. And you can discuss that next week at the meeting when you have it. And with that, we got Darren's update, and that is all that I have.
I have some questions for you when,
Sure.
and a comment. I have a comment here. I will say I was somewhat taken aback by the mayor's letter that he wrote into the record. I think it's unfortunate that we haven't gotten to see that, but I would like to point out that there are a number of inaccuracies in his letter, and I don't believe it was appropriate in this meeting. I am astounded by the unprofessional statements. So I have some questions, and I don't know if you will be able to answer them. Were you aware that that letter was going to be presented?
I never know what's going to happen at these
Okay.
commission
It's an
meetings.
exciting group we have here, so.
Okay, and so I'm wondering, as far as recourse for the inaccuracies or assumptions that were made within that, if we could get some facts. It's a difficult situation. I, like I said, am astounded. It seems to be an unethical step to do, and I'm very disappointed in the mayor, and like I said, I am somewhat taken aback, and so it will be interesting to get a report to find out if such a thing is actually allowed. Thank you. So
Sure.
maybe I don't have any questions for
So
you.
I would have a response to that. I don't know, sure.
Can we take a few moments for a break and have an executive session?
Absolutely. So, this is kind of new that we do this like this, but I don't know how that works. Do we ask everyone to leave the room, or? do
You'll
we-
need to move to enter into the executive session to seek legal counsel.
Okay, would it be out of order to adjourn this meeting so everyone can go home and then we have an executive session? Or,
We want to come out of executive session.
okay, so it's uncomfortable, I know, for anyone that wants to continue on with this meeting, but I think then we're asking everyone to leave while we have an executive session.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
we'll reconvene.
An executive session for litigation, because there's potential litigation that came up.
Well, we have a lawyer present, so,
Yes, to speak about potential litigation. And we will reconvene in about 15 minutes.
sorry, folks. Y'all gotta go. Well, if you don't know, I don't know either, Gordon.
It is.
Da, 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 da.
Right, so the purpose of the executive session pursuant to 4230, 110 RCW, subsection 1, subpart I, to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency matters relating to potential litigation to which the agency governing body or a member acting in official capacity is or likely to become a party.
Okay, so we will then, I believe, have an executive session at this time, and we'll call you all back in 15 minutes if you still want to be around.
Do we have to make that motion? Yes. Okay, I will not be able to remember all of that language, so if it's important to get the language right, could I see your phone? move that we adjourn into executive session to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency matters relating to agency enforcement actions, or to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency litigation or potential litigation to which the agency, the governing body, or a member acting in an official capacity is or is likely to become a party when public knowledge regarding the discussion is likely to result in an adverse legal or financial consequence to the agency.
Okay, I second that. So, we're going to call for an executive,
All in favor?
I believe you made a motion, and I second that motion. So all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We will be going to executive session, and we will come back, I believe, after 15 minutes.
There was a question as to whether this is a discussion item.
All right, at this time, we want to adjourn out of our executive session and go. Thank you, sorry about that. At this time, we want to exit out of our executive session and return to our regularly scheduled city commission meeting. And I have been advised by our legal staff that we should not talk about this proposition in this meeting. Okay? So, the city manager was completing his report, and at this time, it appears that the only things left in this meeting are to announce our next meeting and also when that meeting will be and adjourn this meeting. Is there any other thing for the good of the order?
Nothing at this point, Mayor.
Hearing none, what we're going to do is announce that our next meeting will be October 23rd at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and this meeting is adjourned.